welcome to my workshop. Today we're going to take a grayscale picture of an eagle coming in to land or coming in to snatch a piece of prey, and we're going to put it into ArtCAM Jewelsmith, and we're going to make a 3D file in ArtCAM, and we're going to put it onto the machine and we're going to cut it. So I have in the past in great detail put quite a bit of information of how to construct a 3D file in G-code in ArtCAM. Still a lot of you are asking a few questions, so I will answer those questions during this video. So having opened up the ArtCAM Jewelsmith, keep it as a small screen, and then what you do, all you really need to do is just bring your cursor onto the picture or grayscale picture or whatever you want, and left click your mouse, hold it down and drag it into ArtCAM, into this grey area here, and then release it. Now that was one of the questions that's been asked, how to actually drag and drop it. Well, there you go. So in this, now what we're actually going to do here is we're going to select the dot per inch. That's what DPI stands for over there. So we're going to raise that up to I think 1,000, maybe 1,200. 1,200 is fine for this. So that's the resolution that we've just altered. In the different ArtCAM programs, this is done in a slightly different way. It's either done with a slider bar, or in this case, in this one, you can actually allocate the DPI yourself. In actual fact, this is what I prefer. Then we're going to say the origin, the 0 point of the program is going to be in the center. I want it into the center because I've just faced off that wood block, and it's a slightly odd shape, and trying to zero from the one corner, you're not going to actually get it quite central. So in this case we're going to pick the center of the object to be our 0, 0 and our start point of the program. Okay, I've just gone over and measured the sort of good material that we can actually use, and in the, let me see, so we need to highlight image size, and we're going to say the width is going to be 210 millimeters, put the decimal point in, and the height will automatically change it. Actually probably go to squeeze another 10 millimeter there, I think. Okay, so there we go. So the height is automatically altered there. Now then, this is where we decide the Z height of the whole 3D image. So we're going to say in here that we want it we're going to go 13 millimeter, which is half an inch. Okay, half an inch actually exactly translates to 12.75, but 13 millimeter is normally regarded as roughly half an inch. 13.0, and now we're going to press OK. Now ArtCAM has already constructed the 3D image. It's already done it just by putting those figures into that dialog box. Now we're going to bring it up full size, and you notice there's two panes or two windows within this window here. Now this is a 2D, Okay, so we're gonna. Now that's our rough imported image that we just imported. Now I'll explain a little bit about grayscale. If you notice here these boxes down below, if I scroll down through them, there's 256 boxes. Each one is a different level of between white and black. Each one of these different colors is in this picture, and each one is assigned a height in Z. That is how ArtCAM can, just from a black and white grayscale picture, can actually determine or convert that into a 3D object. It is done with the shades of color. Okay, that's another question that was asked. What we can do, I'll go to the 3D image now. I haven't done anything yet. Okay, here's the 3D image, and it's a bit raw. Now you notice see, now it's already a good image. It's a good 3D image, but it's a little bit speckly. And there is tools within ArtCAM, within all the ArtCAM programs now available, which is ArtCAM Standard and ArtCAM Premium. This is an older version of ArtCAM Jewelsmith. I use this particular ArtCAM program because I have it in several different computers up here in my workshop. I also have ArtCAM Standard, the brand new 2018 program. I have that done in my office. So as I'm up here, I'm using this one. They only differ slightly. They all have the same or similar tools, and they all work the similar way. It's just the outlay, or the way the program is laid out, is just slightly different. It's slightly different color, as in the background colors. We're going to do something. We're going to do a very simple process first. We are going to iron out all the speckly bits that we can, but I don't want to lose too much clarity of like the feathers. So we're going to be very careful how we do that. So there's a tool here called Smooth Relief. So we click that one, and this picture that comes up is a good example of actually what we are going to do. We are going to iron out all the little bumps. Now this figure up here, this top corner, this denotes how strongly we want it to react onto this 3D image. I'm going to leave it on 1, which is the lowest setting. Every time I press apply, it will do the whole 3D image, or it will apply the smoothing process to the whole of the image. So we'll just press it once and look at the image. There you go. That is taken away possibly probably 50% or more. I'm going to do it once more. And do you know what? I'm going to leave it at that. Cancel. And looking at that, it was a very good image to begin with. Okay, if you notice, there are sort of feathery bits still here. Now, if I was to apply that again, I would lose too much clarity. If you notice the feathers up here, I would start to lose those. So there are tools that I could do more, but I really don't think it's worth doing. It's a good enough example for us to cut into wood. It's going to be perfect. So we're going to move directly now to choosing a tool in the toolpath section. So we just click toolpaths down here, and we're going to do a 3D toolpath, which is just over here behind the stormtrooper. We click on that. Okay, I'll just move my stormtrooper a little bit. There we go. Now then, we're going to do the whole relief, and we're going to use an X raster strategy. Actually, we can use an XY raster. No, we'll just use an X raster. We can leave this as a single X raster because the tooling that we're going to be using to cut this, and certainly the PT6012, it will leave this. We'll do a beautiful job of machining this. So we're going to leave all this as standard. Machine safe 25mm. That's okay. Select the tool. Okay, the first tool we're going to use is a 12mm end mill to do a roughing cut, and we're going to select that one. Then we're going to go back into here and reselect the section, step over 4.2. Now, to avoid any tear out, because we're going to actually do this in one cut, so to avoid any tear out, that is taking material out from an area that we really don't want to remove, I'm going to reduce this down to 3mm. So it's a 3mm step over, but at full depth. Step down. Leave the step down at 12mm, because don't forget, when we originally selected the way in which the drawing was the way in which the program was set up in the very beginning, in the first window, we said that we wanted it 13mm. So ArtCAM looks at all the information that you put into it, and it said, okay, you want to do this in one cut, so the maximum, the deepest cut we're going to do is 12mm, which leaves 1mm for the 2mm ball mill to remove for the finishing cut. So we're going to leave that. Now, this is set for normal machines that you would purchase from a different manufacturer, but our machines from Pacific Tooling, we can happily double that figure, more than double that figure. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We could make that 100. That's 4 inches per second of cutting speed. But don't forget, that's broken up into the movement in the X, then movement in the Z. So what will happen when the tool is cutting this, it will accelerate to between this area and this area to 100mm per second. Then it'll abruptly slow up, and it will pull up as well as moving that way, and increase and decrease, or go up and down to do the different cut and follow the contour of the 3D object. But this is the maximum that it will move, and of course it does, like I say, slow up when the Z is lifting up as well at the same time. Plunge rate, I'm going to say I normally use 50% of that, so it's 50. Spindle RPM 12mm. I'm going to go 18,000 RPM with that one, because we speeded up the feed rate. We have to speed up the RPM to be able to get the same chip removal rate. Okay, now in future videos I'll go into more about chip removal rate. Okay, so we'll leave this at tool number 1. and we will continue fill in the wizard or dialog box in. No, we don't want to do multiple passes. We want to do it in one go. Add ramp moves. Yes, this is very important, otherwise the tool is going to go in and dig straight in. So what we want to do is we want the tool to move back and forth, well, rather back and forth and zigzag down in, or ramp moves. Ramp angle 10 degrees, that is. That's fine. You know, I'm going to leave it at 50, minimum let 30. ArtCAM does a lot for you, but you just need to, oh, actually I'll increase that. I'm going to go to 5mm there. ArtCAM does a lot for you. It's all preset, a lot of it's preset, and ArtCAM actually looks at what you're doing as well and partly fills things in. Material setup. Well, we can't really tell it that we're going to be a big block of wood that we've just surfaced in there, so we're going to leave it at this setting. I'm going to say, yeah, model position is in the top section of the material, which is up here. And look, the difference between top and bottom is that, in other words, ArtCAM would ignore this and dig straight down into here. I never use this bottom offset or anything like that. Sorry, I always have bottom offset. So you always have the model in the top section and always have my zero in the top of the material, which it is. So we say that's okay. So now ArtCAM has set up our material. Now what you can do here as well in real time is check to see if any of the 3D object is protruding out from the top, and it will actually show up as a different color, a different it'll be a lighter color, right? But it's, I mean, this is the highest point here of the carving of the image, but it all looks fine. But that is, you can actually check in real time. And what I'm doing here, I'm just hovering over with the cursor, holding the left mouse key or button down and just moving it around. And that's how you move it around in ArtCAM. Now, if I press both keys down together, I can remove the whole object bodily around in the screen. Okay, so now what we do, we name it. So what we're going to say here is this is a 12mm, so that looks okay. So I'm going to say do it now. Boom, it's done. I can close that. So now we're going to do a finishing cut. So we come back here now, pick the 3D strategy, cutting strategy, leave it as X, leave all that the same, come in here, select tool. Now then, ooh, there it is there, 2mm. I have actually pre-programmed this. I actually created a new tool. Several of my videos, I actually create a new tool, and you can see that in them. So we're going to select that one and reopen it. Step over. That's probably a little bit too fine. We're going to go 3.5. I think 3.5mm, that'll be fine. Step down 2mm, leave it at that. This one we're going to bring it all the way up to, oh, we'll do 100 again. 50. Do you know what? We're going to do this one at 24,000 RPM. Now the reason we're going to be doing this one at 24,000 RPM is because we've raised the feed rate. So if you're going to pull the tool through the material faster, you need the tool spinning faster to be able to cut and remove the material out the way. So that's why if you significantly raise the feed rate, you have to raise the spindle RPM. But if you just raise the spindle RPM and keep it at a low feed rate, you'll end up burning your material. Or there's a fear that you can burn your material. It'll brown it or scorch it because it'll be building up too much heat, friction on the end of the cutter. So okay, we'll leave that at tool number 3. No, multiple passes. And yes, we'll do ramp moves. This is much too big for this one, so we're going to go 10 millimeter. Minimum 10 millimeter. So that means it's going to move minimum 10, like that. 5, I want it to start ramping 5 millimeter above the surface of the material. It's fine. We're going to leave that as it is. I'm going to put in here that I've actually 24K, 24K gives me an indication of what I've done, because this is all the information I will see on my memory stick device. Okay, so we'll calculate now. Boom, it's done. Now what we need to do is let's have a look at all the tool paths. So just press simulate all tool paths, standard, and go. And there you go. There it is. There's the finished item, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so that's how to take a grayscale picture straight off the internet, straight out of Google actually, put it into ArtCAM and create G files for your CNC machine. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today, and I hope you join me for the next video of actually carving this eagle into that piece of oak. So if you've enjoyed this video, please press like, subscribe to my channel. That's always a good thing to do, and it's a little red box if you're looking on if you're watching this video on a computer or a TV screen. There's a little red box down there. You click on that, that'll take you to my YouTube channel or station, and there's now over 180 videos, and in those videos you'll see ArtCAM, Mark III, a little bit of NC Studio, CNC routing, furniture making, shop jobs that I do around here, different types of things that I do. So hopefully you'll find something. Oh, wood turning. Yes, I do a lot of wood turning now, which seems to be going down quite well. In fact, one of my wood turning videos is just turning over 7 million downloads, and well, fantastic response. Thank you. So until next time, bye for now.